Okay, this is a cold start of my 89 Geo Tracker. The engine is ice cold. You're going to hear a pretty loud exhaust. I have the two exhaust donuts by the manifold I believe are bad. So it's going to be loud in that regard, but you'll be able to see the RPM on the tachometer. So it looks like 3 cranks to start. And it's right about 2,000 RPM like you said it should be. But it is not taking a 500 RPM dip at 5 seconds. And it is not taking a 500 RPM dip at 10 seconds. I do notice the warm-up time does seem to be, well, the warm-up time is pretty fast. It warms up in less than 2 miles, but it stays at high RPM for a pretty good amount of time. It will stay at high RPM until that needle moves. Temperature gauge. Like I said, the noise and the popping is the exhaust leak. And I am getting 32 miles a gallon, so the engine's in reasonably decent shape. I still have to do a compression test, of course. Let's see if I goose it. It just comes back down to 2,000. That little drop is from the blower being turned on. See if I move forward a bit. That's me moving forward, and it jumps back up to 2,000. Now we're dropping down. As you can see, the needle moved, and the temperature will dip down a little bit. I mean, RPMs will dip down a little bit. It's almost like the thermostat opens, the temperature goes down, so the RPMs go back up. Then the temperature goes up, which lowers the RPM, opens the thermostat. So it does that little bounce around a little bit there. It's like it wants to go down to 1,500, but it's not quite ready to. I think turning on the heat helps it actually. It circulates the coolant better. I don't know. I notice it warms up faster if I turn the blower on. RPMs are coming down a little bit. 1,700 now, 1,600. I wonder if I have a sticking thermostat, because I noticed that the temperature will actually rise a little bit past the midpoint. And then once the car is like really warmed up, it'll settle down to just below the midpoint and then sit there. And now we're holding at 1,500 RPM. Idle is, according to this, right around 700 RPM. I don't know what it actually is. It's below 1,000. Hot idle. Settling below 1,500. Well, actually it's stabilized right there at 15. Now it's dropping again. bit of white smoke coming out of the tailpipe. See it there? Get the autofocus turned back on. RPM is down to around 1400. It's not oscillating anymore, it's stabilizing. And in a moment we'll start hearing the valve tap. You can actually kind of hear it now. I don't know if the video will pick that up, but I know what to recognize for the sound, so I can pick it out. Kind of sounds like crickets in the background. Drop down to 1200 RPM. Still getting a little white smoke. I'm assuming that's just steam. Settling to 1200 RPM. Between 11 and 12, and now we are dropping a little bit. 1100 RPM. That's just my neck. You might be able to hear the valve tapping now. Yeah, you should be able to hear that in the video now. We're now at 1000 RPM. The valve tapping is pretty prominent now. It's working its way down to 900 RPM. And it's now 900 RPM. Working its way to 800. We are in op-temp temperature range now. And it's looking to dip down to 800. Still have a little bit of white steam, puffy smoke, whatever that is. I believe we are pretty close to hot idle now. It's usually right about where it is, right about